Today we are going to discuss about double sideband suppressed carrier technique. The amplitude modulation technique that we discussed in our previous classes is double sideband full carrier technique, which is the basic amplitude modulation technique. And here we are going to consider a variant of that basic amplitude modulation technique, which is this double sideband suppressed carrier technique or DSBSC technique. So in this class we are going to study the concept of double sideband suppressed carrier technique, and then we will study the frequency spectrum, time domain representation and power relations in the case of double sideband suppressed carrier wave. Let's now consider this double sideband suppressed carrier technique in detail. We know the equation for basic amplitude modulated signal is VAM is equal to VC sin omega CT plus MVC by 2 cos omega C minus omega M into T minus MVC by 2 into cos omega C plus omega M into T. We have already derived this equation in our part 1 class. If you want, you can go through that video class for the derivation of this equation. Then from this equation we know this AM signal has three components, namely the unmodulated carrier component, the lower sideband component and the upper sideband component. Then the message to be transmitted is present only in the lower sideband and upper sideband components, because when we consider these three components, here the first component is the unmodulated carrier component, and we can see that in this component there is no modulating signal part is present. Our modulating signal or information signal is Vm sin omega mt, and we can see that modulating signal or our information signal is not present in this component. This component is purely a carrier component. And when we consider this lower sideband and upper sideband components, here we have this M and omega M terms. This M is Vm by Vc, and hence that peak amplitude of our modulating signal is present in this M, and its frequency, the frequency of that modulating signal is present in this omega M. And here also we have M and omega M, so Vm is present in this M, and the frequency of the modulating signal is present here. So when we consider these three components, the message to be transmitted is present only in this lower sideband and upper sideband components. Then also we know the power relation in AM wave is PAM is equal to PC into 1 plus M square by 2, and we have already derived this equation in our part 2. If you want to get clear idea about this equation, you can go through that video class. Then from this equation, the power required for the carrier component is given by this PC is equal to PAM divided by 1 plus M square by 2. So this is the total power required for the carrier component in the amplitude modulated wave. Now let the modulation index be unity, that is this M is equal to 1. Then this denominator term will be 1 plus 1 square by 2, or it will be 3 by 2. Okay, and from that we can write PC is equal to 2 by 3 into PAM. In this equation we know this PC is the power required for the carrier component, and this PAM is the total power required for the total amplitude modulated wave, or this is the power required for our basic amplitude modulated wave. Then from this equation it is clear that 2/3 of the total AM power is utilized for the transmission of carrier component which does not bear any message, because we have already stated that the message to be transmitted is present only in this lower sideband and upper sideband component. The message part is not present in this carrier component, and from this equation it is clear that 2/3 of the total AM power is utilizing for the transmission of carrier component. Only 1/3 of the total AM power is required for the transmission of lower sideband and upper sideband component, but 2/3 of the total power is required for the transmission of the carrier component, which does not bear any message. So a significant saving in the power requirement can be achieved by suppressing the carrier before the transmission. And this thought process led to the first variant of basic AM termed as double sideband suppressed carrier technique. So in this variant of amplitude modulation, we will suppress the carrier. So two sidebands are present here, but we will suppress the carrier to reduce the power required. Let's now check the equation for this double sideband suppressed carrier technique. So the instantaneous voltage of double sideband suppressed carrier may be related to that of AM as V double sideband suppressed carrier VDS BSC is equal to VAM minus VC sin omega CT, because we are suppressing that carrier component here. So from the basic equation for amplitude modulated signal, we need to subtract this term. So from that three components in this VAM equation, that VC sin omega CT component is removed, and hence the equation for this double sideband suppressed carrier is equal to MVC by 2 cos omega C minus omega m into T minus MVC by 2 into cos omega C plus omega m into T. So here we can see in this double sideband suppressed carrier technique that carrier component is suppressed, and we are transmitting only this lower sideband and upper sideband components to the receiver side. Then one important question that arises here is that if we can reduce the power required for transmission by using this double sideband suppressed carrier technique, then why we are using basic amplitude modulation technique? And the answer is the significant power saving in the case of this double sideband suppressed carrier does not come without price. This double sideband suppressed carrier accordingly adds complexity at the receiving point to recover the message. That means when we consider our basic AM technique, then at the receiver side it is very easy to recover our information signal from the received signal. But in the case of this double sideband suppressed carrier technique, at the receiver side we need to use complex circuit arrangements to recover our information message signal from the received signal. Okay. So when we consider our basic amplitude modulation case, at the receiver side that receiver circuit complexity is less, but in the case of this double sideband suppressed carrier technique, at the receiver side that receiver circuit complexity is more. So depending upon the application, we can go either for AM or this double sideband suppressed carrier technique. Suppose your application requirement is cost of receiver needs to be significantly low, then AM is preferred as in the case of AM broadcasting. Alternatively, if the application is meant for point-to-point service, then this double sideband suppressed carrier is preferable. Let's now consider the frequency spectrum of this double sideband suppressed carrier wave. So this is the equation for the double sideband suppressed carrier wave, and we know the carrier component is not present here. So in this frequency spectrum of double sideband suppressed carrier wave, we have that lower sideband and upper sideband components. We have that upper sideband component at FC plus FM, and we have that lower sideband component at FC minus FM, and at the center portion there is no carrier component present. Then from this frequency spectrum we can calculate the bandwidth required for this double sideband suppressed carrier technique. The bandwidth required is this FC plus FM minus FC minus FM, and that is equal to 2FM. And we can see the bandwidth required in this case is same as that of bandwidth required in the case of basic amplitude modulation. Let's now consider the time domain representation of this double sideband suppressed carrier wave. This is the time domain representation of this double sideband suppressed carrier wave, and here this sine wave, which is drawn by using this thick line, actually represents our top envelope, and this sine wave, which is represented by using this dashed line, actually represents our bottom envelope. And here the equation for the top envelope is Vm sin omega mt, and the equation for the bottom envelope is minus Vm sin omega mt. Let's now try to understand why the shape of this DSB SC wave is like this with the help of our basic AM wave. So consider that basic AM wave again. So this is our basic amplitude modulated wave. In this basic amplitude modulated wave, we have three components: the carrier component, lower sideband component, and upper sideband component. But in our double sideband suppressed carrier wave, we have no carrier component. So this VC term is actually 0. So what will happen when this VC component goes to 0? When this VC component goes to 0, the equation for the top envelope will be 0 plus Vm sin omega mt or Vm sin omega mt. So it will look like a normal sine wave. So let's check how it will look when we plot that. So when we plot that top envelope, the equation for that top envelope is Vm sin omega mt. Okay, so it will be like this one. Okay, this peak will be above the 0 line and this one will be below the 0 line. Okay, this is our 0 reference line or our x-axis. Okay, so this is our Vm sin omega mt, and here it will be at 0 level because here there is no Vc value, so this will be represented by 0 level here. Okay, then when we consider the bottom envelope, here also this Vc term is 0, hence the equation for the bottom envelope will be minus Vm sin omega mt. So let's check how it will come when we plot that. So when we plot that bottom component, it will be like this one. Okay, so this one is our minus Vm sin omega mt. Okay, so this portion is below the 0 reference line and this portion is above the 0 reference line. So this is our top envelope, which is Vm sin omega mt, and this is our bottom envelope, which is minus Vm sin omega mt. So when we consider the shape of this double sideband suppressed carrier wave, it will be like this. Okay, so this is our top envelope, which is represented by using this thick line, which is Vm sin omega mt, and this is our bottom envelope, which is represented by minus Vm sin omega mt, and it is shown by using this dashed line. Okay, so here the top envelope crosses below the 0 reference amplitude value, and similarly the bottom envelope crosses above the 0 reference amplitude value. Okay, however, in the case of AM wave, this will never happen because in the case of our basic AM wave, this top envelope cannot cross this 0 reference line and this bottom envelope cannot cross this 0 reference line. At most, the top envelope can touch the 0 reference line but cannot cross it. And the same thing is true with respect of bottom envelope also. It cannot cross the 0 line. At most, it can touch this 0 line. When m is equal to 1, that is when Vm is equal to Vc, these points can touch this 0 reference line, but it cannot cross this 0 reference line in the case of basic amplitude modulated wave. But here in this case of double sideband suppressed carrier wave, this top envelope crosses below the 0 reference line and the bottom envelope crosses above this 0 reference line. Then when we consider our message recovery circuit at the receiver side, in the case of basic AM technique, it is very easy to recover our message signal from the received signal. We can recover that message signal by using an envelope detector. But here in the case of this double sideband suppressed carrier technique, we cannot use an envelope detector for the recovery of our message signal. We need to use complex circuit arrangement for the recovery process. So by suppressing the carrier, we can reduce the power required for transmission, but at the receiver side we need to use complex circuit arrangement for the recovery of our message. We will study about the recovery process in detail later. Let's now consider the power relations in the double sideband suppressed carrier wave. We know the carrier component is suppressed in this double sideband suppressed carrier wave, and the modulated wave contains energy only due to the two sideband components. So here in this double sideband suppressed carrier wave, the carrier component is not present and the components present here are the lower sideband component and the upper sideband component. So the total power in the double sideband suppressed carrier modulated wave is P DSB-SC is equal to V LSB square by R plus V USB square by R. This V LSB is the RMS value of our lower sideband component and this V USB is the RMS value of our upper sideband component and R is the resistance in which the power is dissipated. Then we know this P LSB is equal to P USB and that is equal to VSB square divided by R and that is equal to MVC by 2 divided by root 2 whole square divided by R. We have already seen this equation in our part 2. If you have any doubt, you can go through that part 2 class. Then this one is equal to M square VC square divided by 8R and that is equal to M square by 4 into VC square divided by 2R. So our P LSB is equal to P USB is equal to M square by 4 into VC square divided by 2R. Now substitute these two values here. So we will get P DSB-SC is equal to M square by 4 into VC square by 2R plus M square by 4 into VC square by 2R. This is the power developed by that lower sideband component across that resistance R and this is the power developed by that upper sideband component across that resistance R. Then from these two terms we can take this VC square by 2R outside. So we will get this one is equal to VC square by 2R into M square by 4 plus M square by 4. And we know this VC square by 2R is PC and this M square by 4 plus M square by 4 is M square by 2. So we will get P DSB-SC is equal to PC into M square by 2. So this is the power relation in the DSB-SC wave. And this equation relates the total power in the DSB-SC modulated wave to the unmodulated carrier power. Then from this equation we can calculate the maximum power in the DSB-SC wave. We will get the maximum power when M is equal to 1. When M is equal to 1, this term will be 1 by 2. So this one is equal to PC divided by 2. So the maximum power in the DSB-SC wave is P DSB-SC maximum is equal to PC divided by 2 when M is equal to 1. So from this equation it is clear that we need only maximum of 50% of unmodulated carrier power for the transmission of DSB-SC wave. And this is correct also because in the case of AM wave, in the case of our basic AM wave, 2/3 of the total power is utilized by the carrier component alone and rest 1/3 by both of the sidebands. And this 1/3 constitutes 50% of unmodulated carrier power.